I was. There's a beauty to 8-man football. It's fun to watch, and good to see these guys, young kids, have a chance to come play in Memorial Stadium. It's a lot of fun.
Scott, I know that you've talked in the past about how you weren't really measuring the end of the season based on wins and losses, but just as an overview, to have the opportunity to finish 5-1 after starting 0-6, how big of a deal is that for this team?
Well, you don't have to know a lot about football to see that we're playing a lot better in the second half than the first. We gave ourselves chances to win games in the first half of the season. We just didn't do the little things right to make them happen. We're starting to do some of those things right now, and we've given ourselves chances to win a few of these, and we've capitalized on them. We're playing a really good team again Friday, so hopefully we play well enough to give ourselves a chance, and then all those little things and the discipline and doing things the right way, hopefully will get us over the top.
I know there's sometimes just stray injuries that you can't help, but overall, how have you felt like your team has held up through the course of the Big Ten play in your first year?
We've had some injuries that you kind of can't help that are just going to happen in football, but every year I've been around Zach Duvall and his strength staff, we've been one of the healthiest teams around. And I think a lot of the injuries that had kind of plagued Nebraska players before have been limited this year. Other than some of those that you can't help that are just going to happen once in a while and are unfortunate, we haven't had many soft tissue injuries or shoulders or things of that nature. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that the kids are bigger and stronger, and they're able to be more physical and survive in Big Ten games.
What's the status of Katie's field?
We're working as hard as we can on him. Feel good about it, but we'll have to see as the week goes on.
After such an emotionally draining game, physically draining game on Saturday, did the guys come back today how you wanted them to, energetic-wise and all that?
Yeah, it's been a long stretch, but I think kind of in this last week you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. We got to get a bunch of work done in a shorter amount of time this week, so we actually had a full practice like a Tuesday today, had the guys back in for a walkthrough to try to introduce the game plan last night. Guys' tanks are a little bit empty, but we got enough to get us through one more week, and I was really happy with the enthusiasm out there today.
Scott, what are your impressions of Iowa's defense as you head into this game?
Well, we played a really good defense Saturday. I can't stress that enough, how much respect I have for those guys and how they make it hard on you. That was a tough day to play offense. Made it even tougher by the defense that we were playing. This team that we're playing on Friday is similar. Big and physical up front. They know what they're doing. They're sound. We got a challenge in front of us again, and hopefully the weather will cooperate a little better and we'll be able to be a little more balanced. But these guys are statistically across the board about as good as the team we played Saturday. So it's a good team we're playing.
What stands out about their defense? Why are they so good?
Anytime you're in a system for as long as those two teams have been doing what they're doing, every kid in your program knows what they're doing. Every kid knows their responsibilities. Every kid's been in the same deal for their entire career, the same strength and conditioning, around the same coaches. Those reps and that experience and that work adds up, and those coaches all on both those teams do a great job, and by the time kids are out there playing for them, they're big, strong guys that know what they're doing, and you see that in Michigan State's team, you see that in Iowa's team.
What do you think this week means to Coach Shenander going back and playing Colorado?
Yeah, Coach Chins and I have argued about Nebraska and Iowa for a long time. Now he's finally on the good side. But, he knows a lot of those guys over there, and they're good people. And I'm sure it'll be as emotional for him going over there as it was for me coming back here. So, but we have to put all that aside when we go play, and it just comes down to what happens on the field.
Do you have much of a relationship with Kirk Ferentz?
Yeah, I know Kirk pretty well, mostly from my time at Northern Iowa. We'd be around the Iowa staff quite a bit, and he's one of the good guys in the sport.
Isn't it pretty amazing? He just won number 150. He was illustrious group that not level sustained success over the years.
Yeah, his sustained success is impressive, but you still don't get to 150 unless you're a little bit old. So I'll make sure and remind him of that when I see him.
What would you say about just the job Eric Chenander's done with this group when you think about where you were in August and where you are now in the defense?
That was a big win for us in a lot of ways. I think the biggest was to kind of set the stage for the black shirts deciding that they can win games for us. And if you'd told me we were going to win a game ever here where we didn't score an offensive touchdown, I thought you were crazy. It was certainly a defensive day, not an offensive day, but our defense had to step up. And games like that are going to help you build confidence, help you build on things that you need to improve for the future. You know, I think those guys have done an unbelievable job with what they have, what we walked into, and they've got these guys that are playing on defense, playing about as well as they can. So we need to do that again Friday.
Scott, in what ways might Adrian benefit from a game of that nature?
You know, when we watch the tape, talk to Mario about it, believe it or not, he played one of his better games. Just understanding in those situations that it isn't going to be a track meet and a video game type deal on a day like that. On a day like that, you got to just be patient, be smart with the football, and wait on your opportunities to make a couple plays here and there. And I thought for the most part he did a really good job with that. But that's all part of his learning process. Every game there's still things that he's learning and things that need to get fixed. The great part about him is he fixes them the next week. So he'll get used to the cold after living here for a while. Hopefully we won't have a game like that for a long time. But I thought a bunch of guys grew up in that game, showed a lot of courage in that game and a lot of resolve in that game. So it was a great team win for us from that perspective.
Can you sense from your players that this game is important to them, not only because they view Iowa as a rival, but the last couple of games that they've had against Iowa?
This game's important. All the games have been important. Rivalry games, I've said this a bunch, they're kind of for the fans more than the players. We have to prepare like we're playing anybody else. I got a lot of respect for their coaching staff and their program, so there's not any animosity or hatred between the coaches. I know the fans probably argue and don't like each other, but they run a good program. We're trying to run one here. We're going to prepare just like it's any other game. And I think what you mentioned at the end, that the big part is we got a bunch of momentum going right now, and it'd be great to cap the thing off with another good game.
Not sure how much you've watched their offense, but what kind of weapons you have with two tight ends that
Yeah, I've certainly watched them enough to know that they're really good on offense. Been impressed with, I think they're more multiple than they used to be. Do a good job throwing it, mixing it up with formations, and then they got guys that can hurt you. The two tight ends are as good as there is in this league. Watching them as we've been preparing for other people, both those guys are great players, can really run, can do everything you ask a tight end to do. So we'll have an eye on them.
You're committed to Black Friday, locked into it, but do you love the short week? I know you had one last year against USF, sorry. Do you like it? I mean, is that something you enjoy?
I don't know as a coach if I enjoy it, trying to get all the work done in a week. You know, we kind of stuck around after the game on Saturday and looked at some film. I had a bunch of recruits in town, had to do that a lot of Sunday, and then had to have a walkthrough right away the day after a game. It's not ideal, but around here that's a tradition, and I think that's probably more important than getting us another hour or two of sleep.
When you were a player, in 96 and 97, did you like having that stage on Friday?
You know, I think the stage is awesome for our program and for whoever we're playing on that day. When I was a player, I didn't care when or where we were playing. I just wanted to play. So I think our guys feel the same way.
For you guys as a staff after this game, how quick does recruiting come and all the in-homes and whatnot? How big will that stretch be in those 3 weeks that you can be on the road to kind of close out this first part of the recruiting cycle?
Yeah, we're going to get out in force right after the game, so we'll leave already this weekend and get out on the road. And I think what's been happening here is pretty apparent to a lot of the people that we're talking to. From where we started to where we are now, every single parent and kid we're talking to can see where this is going and can see the progress. see the fan base sticking with us through thick and thin, and I think they can all see that this is a program on the rise. So I think that's going to help us when we get out, and we're going to get out and try to capitalize on that right away.
Scott, has this flown by for you?
What?
Has this flown by for you, the fact that it's the final week of regular season?
You know, when you go through something and it seems like it just started yesterday, but also seemed like it started 10 years ago, that's kind of how this year's been. And we're going to look back and cherish this year, because a lot of things that happened this year, although some of them weren't pleasant, I think were necessary for us to try to get this where we want it to be. And I think that played out through the year. We're certainly a good enough football team right now to have a lot better record than what we have. But it's kind of been pretty sweet and special to see the guys band together and rally and persevere and have the second half of the season that they've had.
Scott, the state football championships are today and tomorrow. We've even got a couple of recruits playing tonight. Where is the talent level in this state for high school football as you look at it right now?
There's good players in this state, and the best part about them is they love Nebraska and they love the game. They love playing football. We're going to try to get every player that we think is capable of playing at this university from the state here, and quite a few will be on the field at these state championship games today. One of the benefits of not having a bye week and being out recruiting as a staff is we still have some evaluation days, so we're going to be able to go out and watch some of the games and have a presence at some of these games. And I never got to play in a state championship game in high school. I think we got beat in the semifinals 3 times. So I'm a little jealous of the guys that are out there, but it's got to be an exhilarating feeling for them to be playing out here for a state title.
Scott, you've gone through one, not here, but at UCF, you've gone through one December signing period. I guess, now that that's under your belt, how do you look at the December signing period? Do you like it, and has it caused you to change how you go about your business and recruiting because of that December signing period?
I think everybody's changed a little because of the December signing period. Everything's got to happen quicker because the signing day comes up and right after season it's on top of you. So a lot of the decisions that were made in December and January are getting made earlier now. So we have to try to be ahead of the game. We'll continue to get farther and farther ahead in our recruiting as we get through each one of these classes and be able to look at even younger kids and get a jump start on things. But really like where we are right now. We need to add some more talent to this team, make sure that we're putting the good talent that we have right now in the best possible position to win. And in order to do that, we need to add some pieces. Looking forward to get out and recruiting and selling what I think everybody can see is happening here.
Scott?
How did you see recruits react to that scene Saturday? Because some people try to use the cold against certain programs, but is there a selling point to it too? If you want to play in the next level, you got to look at those conditions and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I was lucky enough to hang on the NFL for a while. I played in Cleveland and Green Bay. Loved my experiences in those 2 places. It certainly wasn't warm there. I think being in the Big Ten and getting to play in this type of football against these type of teams in all conditions prepares you better to have a chance at the next level. And we were kind of lucky. A lot of the guys we had in town we see as defensive players, and we won a game on defense. Some of them had seen snow but had never seen snow falling from the sky. So I think they enjoyed it. It was a great scene and a great environment, and I think it was a great weekend for us.
After the defensive performance, did you hand out any more black shirts?
Yeah, Antonio Reed got a black shirt today.
How did you guys present that to him, and what was his reaction?
We don't want to make a bigger deal out of it than what it is. When they show up for practice, there's a new jersey hanging in their locker, and I certainly felt like he could have been recognized as a conference player of the week with the difference he made in a defensive struggle in a 9-6 football game. But in our eyes, that's what he was, and he's capable of playing at that level all the time. It was great to see it come to fruition when we really needed it.
Scott, tomorrow there's going to be a quarterback on this field from Aurora that broke your Class C1 record for total offense. Did you know that in your reaction to having that record go down this year?
I didn't know that. I knew it was close. We'll have to see. I might not let him in the stadium.
Hey, Scott, where's your walk
we're going to keep building the walk-on program. You know, it's one thing just to have numbers on a team. It's another to have guys that we genuinely feel like can contribute to this program, that we're going to work with and build, and that can become not just players but starters on this football team. So if there's a young man that we think can be a great player here, we're going to try to get him in this program. And hopefully in the future, the guys that are walk-ons on this team are competing against one another to get an opportunity to play, to get an opportunity to stay on the team and be a part of what we're building. And so we'll keep trying to push the numbers, but at some point they're going to have to compete for spots like anybody else, and that's only going to make us better. Thanks, guys.